Hey guys, here we are at the end of another week. Spring has kicked in Australia and it's time for our weekly wrap up. Kicking off the week, Launch Vic, which is Victorian Government's $60 million fund, announced their first round of grants. One of the objectives of the $60 million fund is to develop the ecosystem to help incubators, co-working spaces and accelerators. And this first round of funding was specifically around that. $6.5 million of the $60 million fund has been deployed and round 2 applications open soon. Shortly after announcing this round of funding, it was announced that Pradeep Philip, the CEO of Launch Vic, is stepping out of the role and being replaced by Kate Cornick. One of the recipients of the grants announced earlier this week was Startup Victoria, who had their big August pitch night earlier this week. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go down there this week, but it looked like a massive night, over 500 people at Inspire 9, and Pantry won the pitch night. So I spent a couple of days in Sydney early this week meeting with founders and investors and had the opportunity to go to Stone and Chalk for the first time. The Stone and Chalk co-working space is over 2 levels. It's fully packed out with fintech only, venture capital firms and also entrepreneurs. One group that works out of Stone and Chalk is the H2 Ventures guys, who announced H2 Ocean, a new publicly listed fintech fund. The Heap brothers who run H2 are looking to raise up to $55 million for this listed fund, and they've got Wyatt Roy as one of their directors. I managed to attend the Data Republic launch of their marketplace earlier this week while I was at Stone and Chalk. It's just crazy the amount of events, product launches and events taking place. You know, I've spoken previously about the number of events taking across the ecosystem right across Australia, and it's crazy to be able to keep up with all these events. Last night alone in Victoria, there was the Awards ceremony for the AIIA. There was a Lean Startup event taking place at Inspire 9. And the night before that, I attended a tech leaders reception that was taking place with tech leaders, experts and government from a number of different countries around the world. So while there's been a lot of events this week, I did attend a breakfast this morning where Alan Finkel, the chief scientist of Australia, was speaking. Alan was speaking in front of a room full of parents about jobs of the future. And based on what I've spoken about today in my weekly wrap, I thought I'd give a couple of takeaways. I know we constantly hear that technology's changed our world, that software's eating the world, but really think about it in the context of us as parents and what it means for our kids. If you think back to when we were at school, and for me that was over 20 years ago, think of what our parents thought about when we were learning and about what jobs we were going to go into. You know, like let's take my first job out of university. I was doing search engine optimization. People refer to it as an SEO guru. So when you look at it, SEO guru is only one angle, but now we're talking about robots, we're talking about artificial intelligence, we're talking about roles that are going to shape our future. This is going to be the same problem that we have with our kids. However, the pace of innovation is just accelerating every single day. So the roles that they're going to be doing are going to be so different to anything that we can imagine today. You just have to go online to the likes of Apple, Microsoft and Google to see what type of roles they're hiring for today. The second takeaway I wanted to provide you all with from Alan Finkel's conversation this morning was about how do we support our children through this pace of innovation. It's not just a matter of them going down a path of a lawyer or a doctor or any standard kind of profession. It's about the new professions that are being created. The takeaway was that we need to support them. We need to encourage them to be inquisitive about what's going on, not only inside school and family, but in the outside world. And then someone in the audience came up with the question was, how do we create a curriculum today for jobs of the future that we don't know will exist? Alan's advice was 3 key subjects, and they are as follows. The first was English, to be able to communicate. The second was maths for science and technology. And the third was music around creativity. It makes sense what he's saying. Combining language with science and technology with creativity helps provide the pillars for future success. We've obviously got a long way to go. We talk about STEM, we talk about STEAM, we talk about the education for our kids, get them coding early, but these were some great takeaways from Alan. So for me, as a father, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, the key takeaway is always be learning and be inquisitive. If you guys out there have a topic you want me to cover in this weekly wrap up or sometime during the week, send me a tweet with the topics you want me to cover. A quick shout out and thanks to all my followers who are sharing these weekly wraps with their friends. If you're new to my weekly wraps, check out this link below and you'll be able to look at.
Alright, that's the end of another weekly wrap up. Have a great weekend, enjoy spring, and we'll see you next week.